Alrighty, I'm going to get my 2 cents in on these potential Hunter Biden criminal charges that are being thrown about in the media. Particularly on the right of center media. You have all these conservatives going, we're gonna get him. We're finally gonna, get the justice. We're gonna go after that, corrupt drug addict. There's too much evidence. We're gonna put him away. And some people on the right aren't quite that delusional. You have some more, Machiavellian arguments for a Hunter Biden prosecution coming from somebody like Clay Travis, who makes the case that, by throwing Hunter Biden under the bus, it makes it easier for them to, prosecute Trump, because then Merrick Garland can say, well, look, see, I'm not being a partisan hack. I prosecuted Hunter Biden, even if it's, for something small. And so now I have to prosecute Donald Trump and prevent him from, running for president. But I don't think that either of these scenarios are really likely. I don't think that Merrick Garland is looking around, for permission to prosecute Donald Trump. I don't think he feels like he has to appease the right half of America and make himself appear to be some kind of, objective arbiter of the law. I don't think that he looks at himself that way. Merrick Garland is somebody who's been in the Justice Department and, been a part of ops against the American people for decades at this point. And so I think he has, no problem going after his enemies. I don't think he feels like he has to, sacrifice his friends in order to preserve his own image. Merrick Garland knows who he is, and I don't think he's ashamed of it. And if you think about the way that, the consensus works in Washington, there is a broad consensus on the left and right of the establishment that Donald Trump is a criminal who deserves to be in prison. So even if, a lot of people think that Hunter should be too, that has nothing to do with Trump. It's not like, Merrick Garland and the rest of the establishment think, Donald Trump is totally innocent of any crimes, but we just want to, put him away, and we need a good excuse for that. No, these people, in their heart of hearts, believe that Donald Trump is a criminal insurrectionist, someone who tried to overthrow the U.S. government. And so they just have to find something that they can convict him of. That's the way they look at it. They look at it as, for them, the pressure that they're feeling is not pressure to not prosecute Trump. It's not that, we just really, really want to put Trump away, but, we need a good excuse, because we hate him. Well, yes, it's that. But in their mind, they are feeling pressure from the people they know in Washington, and their friends and family, and when they go to the country club and the cocktail parties, they're having people, particularly Merrick Garland, breathing down his neck saying, when are you going to put Trump in prison? When are you going to lock him up? When are you going to stop him so that he doesn't run for president again? They're not getting nearly that kind of pressure put on them regarding Hunter Biden. There's just not much of an appetite in Washington for prosecuting Hunter Biden. If you think about who supports that, members of the House Freedom Caucus, a handful of other Republicans, most of them, they don't want anything to do with that. They don't want to take down someone for corruption because they're all corrupt themselves. They all probably, snort cocaine off of, the bellies of hookers and worse things too. If there's any appetite for prosecuting Hunter Biden, I think that I would probably be in agreement with, I think Robert Barnes and a couple other people have said this, a Hunter Biden prosecution would be flaunted as, or used as a stick to beat Joe Biden into submission, into resigning, into not running in 2024. That's the only real utility I see for Hunter Biden prosecution. It's not like they want to prosecute him in order to bring him to justice. It's not that they need to prosecute him so that they have, some kind of, moral justification for prosecuting Trump so that they seem objective. Nobody thinks they're objective. They don't pretend to be objective. It's very clear. Their justification for prosecuting Trump is that Trump is an enemy of America, and they're the good patriots. Republicans are treason weasels who sold our country out to Russia when they stole the 2016 election. None of that has anything to do with Hunter Biden. It does not compute. It is something that only makes sense, I think, from, sort of I guess, a conservative mind. You're looking at it as, you, and I don't mean you personally, the viewer, but I'm saying as conservative voters, once upon a time, they had faith in police and the Justice Department. And so if they've now lost that faith, it would make sense to them that the Justice Department would try to do something to trick them into thinking they're objective so that they wouldn't be upset about the Trump prosecution. The Justice Department does not care about those people. That's how they lost their trust to begin with. Because the Justice Department alienated their number one constituency in America, which is law and order voters. The law and order people, they have, over the past few years, have really lost, a lot of that faith that they had in the institutions. They might still believe in this idea of law and order, but they don't think that the Department of Justice or the police departments of major cities, they don't think that they represent law and order anymore. And the reason for that is that these agencies are openly hostile to those sorts of Americans. And so we have no reason to believe that they would suddenly change that and try to trick these people into thinking that they are their friends again. Because that's what you're talking about. If you're saying that Merrick Garland, wants to prosecute Hunter Biden so that he can then go after Trump, what you're saying is that he's trying to appease the right half of America and trick them into thinking that he's their friend. He hates them. He wouldn't do that. He's perfectly happy to gaslight you into thinking that Hunter Biden did nothing wrong, and Donald Trump deserves to be put away for life in prison. So, since I've ruled out those first two theories of a Hunter Biden prosecution, the third one that remains is using it to strong-arm Biden. And at the end of the day, Biden is not going to sell out his son and let him be prosecuted if they really do try to threaten Biden that way. I think Biden would step aside or give him whatever they want, in order to get him out. And so, because of that, there almost certainly will not be any Hunter Biden prosecution. Now, could I be wrong about that? Of course. I could be very, very wrong. And if I am wrong, I will try to remember that I said this. I probably will. And I will correct myself. I always try to, if a prediction I make does not come to pass, I try to identify that and talk about it as soon as, my prediction, becomes wrong. Because, this is all just a learning exercise, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just trying to, look at events and judge them, and think about this stuff. And this whole channel is just me thinking out loud. So with that said, Hunter Biden probably has a bright future ahead of him, for as long as he is able to keep himself alive. But eventually, he'll probably overdose or sadly kill himself, intentionally or something like that. He doesn't seem like somebody who's, at this point, he's gone this long in his life, being screwed up. He doesn't seem like he's the type who's going to turn things around, but it's not for a lack of having extra chances. He's going to have as many chances, as he needs. At the end of the day, what's going to take him down is his body. He's going to physically fail. Because one day his body will collapse under the abuse that he's put it through. And that will be his undoing, not Merrick Garland prosecuting him, nothing like that. And at the end of the day, Biden can just pardon Hunter. And you know what? He probably will pardon Hunter on his way out. If there's any question, and he can say justifiably, hey, if the next Republican comes in here, they're going to try and prosecute my son, and it'll be a political prosecution, so I'm going to preemptively pardon him. That would make perfect sense, and I think plenty at least his own voters, Democrats, would accept that. And they'd say, well, yeah, of course Republicans would do that. And so if the Justice Department, was going to try and prosecute him, now anyway, Biden could pardon him. Would it be embarrassing? Sure. But, that's kind of the way that they would have of enforcing Biden out, is that if he had to pardon his own son, from being prosecuted, well, then he would, he'd probably, resign or just not stand for re-election. And so, the effect of that Hunter Biden prosecution, would have been successful. It would have been to force Biden out. So, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.